Hello little cuties and welcome to my channel Fixin to Hillbilly. Today we're going to make a 20-inch fall welcome wreath. Now my name's Melinda and let's get started. Okay, now we're going to start with our supplies. You're going to need 10 each one of those ribbons. So you're going to need a total of 20 ribbons. You're going to need 10 each. The mesh, you're going to need 10 each, cut in 15-inch pieces. So you'll need 10 orange, 10 gold, 10 light brown, and 10 burgundy, all cut in 15-inch pieces. You're also going to need a sign, of course, and a 20-inch frame. Now, I got this 20-inch frame at the Dollar Tree a couple years ago. I haven't seen any of this size for a long time, so you may have to get that somewhere else. The sign I actually got from Family Dollar. So if you have a Family Dollar in your area, you might want to check those out. That sign was only $1.25, and that's the same price as the Dollar Tree. Now what I'm doing here is I'm putting a pipe cleaner on the back of this with a bunch of super glue. And then I'm going to take a piece of that ribbon and push it down on top of it, so that's going to hold it real sturdy. We don't want that coming off, because I don't know why, and it wasn't doing this, but lately when you use that staple gun to hold those Chanel stems, or I call them pipe cleaners, on the boards, it's coming through the board. So you know, I don't want to do that. So the best thing to do is just use the pipe cleaner. And if you put a bunch of hot glue on there, it's all going to hold. Now I usually press it down a little bit so it's a little bit flat. You see how it's flat there. So when I go to set it on the end of the board, it'll set a little flatter on there. So as you see, I just put me a bunch of hot glue there. Now don't put that ribbon on and start pushing it down, because that hot glue is hot, and even though you got a ribbon between you and the hot glue, it's still very hot. So as you see, I just took the end of my scissors and was pressing that down. Now it's cooled off a little bit for me to be able to touch it. I don't really like working with hot glue so much because it gets on your fingers and all over the place and leaves strings everywhere if you're not careful. Now I'm going to hook that sign to my frame. And this one has it's got about, I think it's got about 10 sections, but you're going to cover one section at the top and one section at the bottom with that sign. So that's going to leave you about 8 sections to work with. Now I'm going to be starting with the burgundy. I'm going to roll 2 up from the bottom, clip it, and then turn it around, and then I'm going to roll 2 up, 2 or 3 up from the bottom, and then walk it up. Now, your ribbons are going to be going on your light brown. So if it's not light brown, just attach it. Now you're going to be attaching it to B and C. You know I go from the outside to the inside. So this has A, B, C, and D wire. Everything is going to be going on B and C. No, you're not going to be using A and D at all. It's only going on the 2 middle wires. Now this is a really simple wreath to do because it doesn't have a lot of ribbons that you have to attach to everything. So you're just going to roll both ends, walk it up the middle, and put a zip tie around it and attach it to B and C. It's just that simple. And then you're going to push that as close to the sign as you can get it, because you don't want your frame to be showing behind your mesh. So that's why you see me working the mesh a little bit behind the sign to kind of, bring it all together. But in the end, what I end up doing is putting an extra piece of mesh at the top and the bottom behind that sign, because it did have a big gap in it and I didn't like that. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next piece, which is the gold. And you can take this in any order you want. You can use 3 collars, 2 collars, whatever you want to do. You just need to make sure that you have a total of 40 pieces of mesh cut at 15 inches. So as you see, I folded the ends over a little bit and clipped it. Folded the ends a little bit on this end and clipped it on that end. And so to make it a ruffle. Now, I like doing this technique, and I'll tell you why. It covers a lot of the fray. And I had sold 2 of my wreaths the other day to someone, and she said, there's not very much fray on here. They say you normally have to spray them for fray. And you can. You can spray hairspray. If you don't have the glue spray, I do use the Elmer's glue spray, but you can even use hairspray if you want to. But I don't, because you don't know what your customers are going to be allergic to. Now, if it's for you in your house, yeah, just use you some hairspray. It'll hold it. Okay, and then you're just going to tighten that up and clip that off. And I actually went through and did a bunch of those and then flipped it over and did the back. Okay, and then next I'm going to use the orange. And I put burgundy in this one. I just want something a little deeper for fall. It is getting closer to fall, and I do love those colors together. And I will be using that burgundy in another wreath that I'm going to do, because I've got in my mind I want to do that another truck wreath, a red truck wreath. And that burgundy color is the same color as a truck, the red truck. So I'd like to have one of those red trucks just to set out in my front yard. That'd be good decoration. Alright, and then I'm just going to go through and I'm going to pull that down. And I had 5 bundles, I guess you might say, in each section. That's how we come up with 40 pieces, which is what we were going to need. Now, on this next one, we're going to be putting the ribbons in it. And this was a little bit cumbersome working with a size wreath that I was working with, only because I'm not used to working with that size wreath. So I folded the bottom up, and then I folded the other end after I clipped it, and then just walk it up the middle so you have a nice ruffle. Now I'm going to add 1 each of the ribbon. I'm going to put those together. And then I always fold them in the middle because I want them, centered. I don't want one piece longer than the other, because it does look weird when after you get your wreath done. It just looks awkward. Nobody probably even notices, but if you are a crafter, you'll notice, especially if it's your wreath. Then I'm just going to pull that down real tight. And scoot it over. Now I know it looks like I could probably put more in there than 5, but because they're 15-inch pieces, it's pretty, you know, full with doing just 5 per section. Then you're just going to spread your bow out. Now I'm going to start all over again. I want to go, because I've only got 4 collars. Now you can absolutely put more collars, less collars, whatever you want to do in this wreath. This is, you know, your wreath, and you're going to do it how you want to do it. What you think looks good. Now I chose 4 because I wanted more fall colors. I was even going to put a little bit of green in there, but I was like, nah, let's just do it this way. Okay, and then so I folded over the end and clipped it. Then I'll fold up the other end, and then I'm going to walk it up the middle until I meet it. Now, like I said, this is a pretty easy wreath because you don't have a lot of bows to put in. It's only every 4. So you're going to run it down in between A and B and bring it back up in between C and D rows. And I usually pinch the mesh together just to make sure it's even. Now I did see the other day where a crafter said she cuts her bows in 11 inches. And I thought that looked good. I may start doing that because sometimes you got a lot of extra fluff there, but then, you know, you couldn't see her bows as well. Even that extra inch, you couldn't see the bows as well. So, in smaller wreaths, I think it might be okay, but not in the larger wreaths. I think you need the bigger bows. And I cut those in 12 inches and then dovetailed them. I moved that out of the way. It was just getting in my way. Okay. I don't know where I threw it. I think I threw it on the floor. So I'm going to roll up the ends using my little clip. Now you have to hold it down with something on one end because those rolls, it's going to roll up. And then I'm going to roll up the other end, and then I'm going to walk it up the middle. Alright. And then I'm going to attach that to the frame as well. And you're going to complete that around the wreath, going burgundy, gold, orange, and light brown. And remember, on the light brown one, you are going to be doing your ribbon. Now, here's your wreath after you complete it. It's nice and full, and you didn't need any more. But as you see there at the top, there was nothing behind it, so I did go back. You're going to need a couple extra pieces of mesh because I did go back and add that to the top and bottom of the wreath. Now, I'm just using some leftover ribbon that I have, so I had some of this left, so I'm just going to do one ribbon out of this, and you take it through, twist it over to the not so pretty side. Now watch what I'm doing here. I'm twisting it to the not so pretty side so the pretty side is facing up. Okay? And pull that out. Now there wasn't too much left of that. That's okay. There's no rules. You don't have to have the same tail length on every ribbon you put on there. And we're just winging it. Which is what I do most days. Okay, now I found this sparkly ribbon over there at the Dollar Tree. But I'll let you know, when I went to the Family Dollar, the same tray of ribbon that they had at the Dollar Tree was the same tray of ribbon that they had at Family Dollar. I was really surprised. And a lot of their signs were $1.25, and they had some cute little decorations for $1.25 all over the place. Of course, you know, they had things that were more expensive too, but they had some really cute things for $1.25. Now, that's what we're paying now at the Dollar Tree, so you might want to check out Family Dollar too. There was that welcome sign, and then there was another one that said Happy Fall on it. It was about the same size. Now I'm going to use another one. I run my ribbon. There's my tail. I flipped it to the not so pretty side. Then ran it through. Flipping it again. Sometimes I really wish I could still use my hands like I used to. I mean, I can do it, but it just makes them sore after a while. But I really like using my hand, because sometimes this thing is just cumbersome to me, you know, trying to flip everything over. You can do it in your hands just as well. So if you don't have an easy bow maker, and you can, you know, it's not painful for your hands, then you just use that. You don't have to spend the money on it. That's totally up to you. I didn't have one for a long time. I didn't get one till probably this year. And it just made things easier. Okay, and then just flip it to the not so pretty side. Now you can put as many bows on this as you want. You can do 2, you can do 3, you can do 10, whatever you want to do, because this is your wreath, and you got to allow yourself some grace for what you do. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's yours, and it's your design. I mean, I can sit there and watch somebody's tutorial on wreath making, but it don't mean I'm going to use the same colors. Sometimes I do, but honestly not very often, because sometimes I might think, well, like in this one for instance, I thought, well, you know what, burgundy would look pretty good in that. Give it a little pop. Now as you see, I always put a zip tie on the back and lay it flat, and then I hook it together, because that one on the back is going to be the one that's going to attach to your frame. That way you don't have to deal with, you know, trying to hold everything and get it on your frame, and there's mesh in the way. You don't want to have to deal with all that. Just make it easy on yourself. Now, then I go back and I just dovetail the ends, just to make it look a little cuter. You could even just cut them at an angle. That'd be okay. Whatever makes you happy. I just particularly like them this way. I just think it makes them look real pretty. Now as you see, that one ribbon right there I'm cutting right now is just a little bit messy. See how those little things keep popping off? But it's not a big deal. I mean, you can clean that up in no time. I just wipe it off and then run the sweeper. But it is a little bit messy. But you know, I found, honestly, the things that make them look cuter is, you know, those are the things that are more messy, but it's worth it to me to have it the way you want it. Okay. Now I'm going to attach it to the frame, and then I'm just going to run that through, that zip tie through. That way I can hold it down. Now, if you want to arrange those ribbons that are running down, because that's what I do, because if not, they're going to be going across my welcome part. Well, I don't want them going across the welcome part. So what I do is I pull those ends down, and then I just put a little bit of hot glue there just to hold them where I want them. That way they're not flowing all over the place. And then even when the wind blows, they're still going to stay. And it doesn't take a lot. Okay, and there's your end result on your wreath. Now I want to thank y'all for being with me today. I sure do appreciate you all, and I appreciate all my new subscribers. Blessings to you and your family. And remember, you were born to do great things. So stay strong in the Lord, never give up hope, and always take time to pray. It's very important. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.